Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the Akim who are tuning to these videos. And in this video, I'm just going to briefly speak on this topic about this guy. As you can see, other brothers have already been speaking on this individual, and as the title says, Sideways Crab Revealed. Now, I don't really know particularly every detail of this individual, but the scriptures go into how this word is it's only going to bring in the hopeful elect. For many are called, few are chosen. And albeit there's going to be members coming into our ministry, not everybody is going to hold on. Some of them are going to put their hand on the plow, work for a bit, or probably for a long time, and then let go. Or they're going to become lukewarm, and you're going to see that the Spirit is not going to be dealing with them. And I'm not going to play this video, but this individual, and like I don't know the full details of this. I guess he is with some people from the Arizona camp or something like that. Don't quote me on this, but he got here. This guy, he used to basically come into our comment section and say Khan and agree with us, post precepts, but ultimately someone scoped out that his YouTube channel was going against the doctrine that we preach, specifically going into how like we're in the new covenant and things like that. And you can see this video for yourself that he's only just waxing worse and worse. There's a section here where he's playing like a cartoon. It's that same spirit that the Avengers were coming in, and all these people who come up that Israel tried and refined, to name one of these few, they come up, make a few noise, scream around on the comment section, and then they disappear, because this is when you're in this ministry, you understand these people, they weren't fit for this ministry, they weren't fit for the battle, and they ultimately succumbed to whatever Satan was tempting them with. Because when you're in this ministry, that's something that we let everybody know, as it says in Sirach 2, when thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. And so Satan is ultimately going to try to give you an inward agitation so that you are overthrown and that you put your hand off the plow. And Yahweh Shai, as it says in the book Revelation, he would rather us to be either hot or cold, not lukewarm, or else he's going to spew you out of his mouth. And you can watch other videos of this individual. I guess he had a dream also that was very spiritual. If you have the eyes to see really what was playing out, because this is spiritual warfare that's happening, and it's really our lives that are at stake. That's why we know the terror of the Lord, we persuade men. We do this in fear and trembling, just like how Noah did and our forefathers. We don't have that mindset that we're in this ministry just for a little bit and then we're going to quit, because when we read these precepts that I have listed here, going into the parable of the fig tree or the parable of the talent, we don't want to disappoint Yahweh Shai ultimately. But so I want to read this first in 1 John 2:19, because you're going to see this happen over and over again, and I believe it's going to happen more and more still until the missiles hit. And this is in 1 John 2:19. It reads, "They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us." So if they were in this ministry and they're really about it, like me personally, I'm really about this ministry. I'm always studying to show myself approved, watching these videos. But then those people who were with us but really were in the spirit were not with us, they're not going to have those characteristics. They're really just in this because they're bored or something. They're just trying to find a clique to get with. But in this ministry, it's about work. You don't want a person on this job that we're working on slacking. That's why we rebuke one another. We always check each other out and make sure that the body, the whole ministry, is in working order. And then these people who are slacked, they're lukewarm, they're lazy, or they're just looking for another way to enter into the kingdom, they're going to be spewed out. Because you have to understand that the eyes of the Lord are 10 times brighter than the sun. So all these things are going to be brought out to these people that they're not really with us. So I'm going to read from here again. It says, "For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us. But they went out that they might be made manifest that they were not all of us." And this goes to show you that this is going to keep happening, because people, they can come into our comment section in our camps. They can say shalom all they can, really just being an outwardly Israelite, but then spiritually they're not actually studying. They're not applying these scriptures. And as I was saying, it's a fearful thing to fall into the the hands of the living power. Yeah, because in the scriptures, like for anybody who has any sort of doubt in their mind, you have to go to the scriptures to alleviate those estiniazos, those inward agitations, because this word is the comforter, and we also comfort one another. And like to anybody like with that doubt playing through your mind, a good precept to go into is in Matthew 21, speaking about the fig tree, or Matthew 25, which is going into the talents, because you want to be found favorable working in this ministry. Like how it says in the scriptures, when Yahushua returns, he's going to find workers working in his stead. He's going to find faith on the earth, and those who have faith aren't going to quit. Those who take their hands off the plow, they're not fit for the kingdom. Ultimately, they were with us to leave us just to fulfill prophecy. I want to read this also too. Is in 2 John 1 verse 10. It says, "If there come any unto you, and bring not this doctrine, receive him not into your house, neither bid him Godspeed." And of course, when you come into this ministry, we're new babes. We're drinking the sincere milk. We're getting built up on a level. But the thing is, though, is you can't be stagnant. So anybody who's stagnant is pretty much going against the grain, or bringing all these wayward doctrines, because it's a lot that you have to study, so that you're actually in this ministry, and then you hold post at a camp. And so like these people, they started getting these wayward doctrines or whatever, and that's just starting to show that they were starting to depart from us. And then if you read down in verse 11, it says, "For he that bideth him Godspeed is partaker of his evil deeds." So this person has been marked pretty much, like it says in Psalms 37, "Mark the perfect man." So we're doing it on the right hand side when we're fishers of men, or we're seeking those who are meet for repentance. We're also doing that on the left hand side of things, seeing that this person, he's not right, or he's being rebellious, or however it may play out. And so we're not going to give these guys Godspeed. We're actually going to let the congregation know why he's going off, where he's going off, and how he's going off. Specifically with this guy, I don't know for a fact if this is the guy who started that whole "we're in the new covenant already." Because it's kind of like a lot to keep up with all these fallouts. Because people come into this ministry, they realize that you have to work in this ministry, then they find an avenue to exit. Pretty much Satan is pretty much telling them that you don't have to do this. We're already in the new covenant. Why do you got to go out there on the highways and hedges and be fervent or anything like that when we're already in the new covenant? Well, you got to test the spirit by the spirit if it is of the Most High, and some like that is not of the Most High. And if you're with those people, that's another thing we do is we say, if you're on YouTube, we recommend you stick to one camp. Like if it's IUIC, sure. If that's your spirit, you could subscribe to all the IUIC channel. Or if it's IACPK, go ahead. We're not stopping you. If anything, the only thing we're saying is that we recommend that you stick to one camp, because you're just going to have all these wayward doctrines, and then you're going to have partakers of these people who have these evil doctrines, evil deeds. All right, so I want to read this in Matthew 21, and I'm just going to start at verse 18. It says, "Now in the morning, as he returned into the city, he hungered. And when he saw a fig tree in the way, he came to it, and found nothing thereon, but leaves only, and said unto it, Let no fruit grow on the tree henceforward, for ever and presently the fig tree withered away. And when the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, How soon is the fig tree withered away?" And so Yahushua pretty much went to a fig tree, and what this tree is supposed to do is supposed to bear fruit, so that when you're hungry, you go there and you eat it. And fig trees are high level; they got a lot of nutrients in them. But Yahushua saw that this fig tree wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing. And so you equate that with us in this ministry. like how we're as trees, and so a tree is supposed to bear fruit. It's supposed to grow. If a tree is stagnant, that means something's wrong with it. And so that's what we're pretty much we're doing in this ministry is we're showing forth our fruit. And with these people, give or take 2 or 5 years, we'll see what his fruit is. And you could tell his fruit is just going to be nothing but carnality, and he's not going to reap the spirit. He's pretty much considered a fig tree that bears no fruit, and he's going to be accursed except he repents, which most likely is not going to play out. And this is in Matthew 25, and I'm going to start at verse 20 just to get to the point. It reads, "And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained besides them 5 talents more." So, if you read the whole parable, Yahushua had these servants, and he gave them talents of gold. And then this one who was given 5 talents was able to utilize those talents so that he could flip it. He can grow upon it. So he wasn't a fig tree that just was stagnant or withered away. He actually it was beneficial for Yahushua to give him these talents, because he knew that if he gave it to these talents, that he would grow upon it, and it would be a plus as opposed to a minus. That's one thing that Apostle Tahar always says. This is really Yahushua's business. It's nothing personal. It's just business. And this is verse 21. It says, "His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord." He also had received 2 talents, and came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents besides them. And so that's why we have these lots in these ministries. Some are actually eloquent speakers, very good readers, and they can quote the scriptures very good. But there's other brothers, they may not be a good speaker, but as long as they're able to flip that talent, whatever it may be that the Yahushua parted to him, he has to make sure that he is fervent in this ministry. So like in a farm, not everybody's going to have how you say like a person who's dealing with the cattle. You got people who are tending to the vines. You got people who are making sure that the barn is functioning, or they're with a scythe making sure that they have wheat for the winter for the animals to eat. So it's a whole body. Everybody's got their job to do in this ministry. That's what the parable is equating it to. It says, "Enter thou into the joy of the Lord." And verse 24 says, "Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art a hard man." And so Yahushua was an austere man. That's why I say it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. So Yahushua pretty much gave this guy a job on the farm, like just to milk the cows in the morning. That's all he had to do. But he says, "Reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering what thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine." So instead of actually doing, so he even says that Yahushua is an austere man. Instead of actually applying that, he went to go slack off. He did what he wasn't supposed to be doing, and his only commandment, like in this little parable that I'm saying, is his job was only to milk the cows. But then he didn't do that. And so in verse 27 it says, "Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which hath 10 talents." So this person's ability to deal with the cows was taken away and given to the other person in this ministry, who's more in charge, more actually, he knows what he's doing in this farm. He wants this farm to flourish. He doesn't want to work at a place that doesn't yield money at the end of the year. And so he pretty much, this guy that was lukewarm, he fired him, and then he gave that ability to the person. He knows that if he milks these cows, then this farmer is going to come out good, because he's a good working person in this ministry. So verse 29 again says, "For unto everyone that hath shall be given, and I'll read verse 28. It says, "Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which hath 10 talents. And so that's what I emphasized. That's what I emphasized, the fear. You got to implement this fear into actually doing your job, studying, getting into this doctrine, drinking the sincere milk. If no one was out here doing what we're doing, then this word would just go out void. But the scriptures are going to raise up a remnant out of the dry bones, and they're going to be the ones speaking this 100% doctrine, so that these words do not go out void. Yahushua doesn't need lazy people in this ministry. It says, and give it unto him which hath 10 talents. For unto every one that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But for him that hath not shall be taken away, even that which he hath. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. As so this is going into precepts about how these things are just going to keep happening. And ultimately, like I was saying, if you start getting wayward thoughts in your mind, getting doubt, read these scriptures that I just read, because you don't want to be considered that person who had their talent taken away. If all you maybe you have to fast or inquire with a brother. That's why we have the body. Like for example, in that parable I was speaking, if the person was worried about milking the cow wrong, maybe he should inquire that with another brother, and then they could have helped him build upon each other. Iron sharpeneth iron. So there's avenues though that you can be able to succeed in this ministry, as opposed to failing in this ministry. And this is 1 Timothy 4 verse 1. It says, "Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils." And this is what played out with these individuals, and all of them. Like I said, Israelites, tried and refined, brothers from the ex-brothers from Arizona. The list goes on, pretty much. They were pretty much, because here at Great Millstone we teach a doctrine, but then all these other people they say these wayward things that we here at Great Millstone don't teach. And that's where defending the gospel comes in, because we really it's not up to us, but we wouldn't want them to go out there and preach falsehoods like these people in the world. They believe that Yahushua, his name is Jesus, he's a so-called white person, this and that. Well, we're defenders of the gospel, and we're out there saying that what we're speaking is the true gospel, the true doctrine, as opposed to what these other people are doing and speaking on. And in verse 2 it says, "Speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron." And so that's what's going to play out. These people pretty much, the Lord is not dealing with them. He ultimately spewed them out of the congregation, took whatever talent they had, and gave it to the next brother. As 2 Timothy 4 verse 1, it says, "I charge thee therefore before the Most High and the Lord Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom, preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all longsuffering and doctrine, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables." And some of us in the camp already did a video on this topic, and we were speaking about that, how they just got an itching ear. They're ultimately they wanted to be on a level and have what Apostle Tahar and all the elder brothers have, is pretty much that lot in the ministry. Well, if they really wanted that lot to be an elder in this ministry, you would have to put work in it. Brothers don't just get on a level out of nowhere. It takes years of actually drinking the sincere milk before we actually get to the meat. If you just jump head first, try to deem yourself as a highly ranked person, well, like as the scripture says, you're going off, and you're going to ultimately choke up. And the last precept I have is 2 Peter 3 verse 3. It says, "Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lust." So really, they're not doing this out of the spirit or the kindness of their heart, so they can go and gather the elect into this, into the gospel, bringing out the word. Really, they're doing this after their own lust. And like this one guy, yeah, they always be doing snarky remarks to us, even though they learned a lot of the things from us. They as what I started with in First John 2:19, it looked as if they were with us, but ultimately they were departed, and they were really not with us this whole time. They're really just in our circle, checking us out, spying, and copying us. All right, so this I'm gonna read verse 3 again. It says, "Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, and saying, Where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue, and they were from the beginning of the creation." So all these wayward doctrines, they're going to be put to an end, especially during Jacob's trouble. With that, I'd like to give all honor praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakodash, Shalom Akim.